I think most of the people that come here regularly know that there's no experience like seeing something with 400 people in this room who are laughing or, shocked or and just sharing something in this beautiful screen with phenomenal sound. There's just no comparison to watching a movie at home. It's like they're night and day.
The Coolidge Corner Theater has been a Boston staple for almost 90 years. But like most theaters across the country, the coronavirus pandemic has forced them to lower their curtains. For Catherine Tallman, who's acted as executive director at the Coolidge for the last 7 years, the forced closure of theaters came as a shock.
So when we closed, we didn't have any plans. I mean, who did? And we sent an email out right away to our whole donor base, our whole email list, which is about 18,000 people, and said, we're closed. And people started making donations right away.
Even with strong support, the Coolidge staff knew they'd have to innovate. Mark Anastasio, director of special programming, was already planning on a picnic-style special screening of Shutter Island at Medfield State Hospital, which features prominently in the film. When COVID-19 struck, he pivoted to the drive-in style screening, which became an immediate sellout success. For Anastasio, the ability to connect with the audience in spite of the pandemic was the best part.
It's great hearing from them. Like it's really cool to be able to see our people, like our regulars are coming out to these shows. And it's just really nice to see the same faces that we would see at our primetime signature programming.
In addition to private room rentals, virtual screenings and seminars have kept the Coolidge community together. In the case of their seminars and Q&As, the virtual offering made them accessible to more people.
When you're running a theater, it's hard to find any screen space because the screens are basically booked. So we were always limited. They always sold out. So then we started offering those online. The first one we did was Rear Window, which seems so apt, and we had 224 people, including someone from Peru. So we figured out pretty fast that there was an ongoing, strong reason to continue to offer those. So we offer those every week now.
JP Movie Night was founded in 2018 by neighbors and Jamaica Plain residents Shayla Stewart and Jason Gregarkis. Their goal was to bring their community together through their shared love of film and highlight independent films with local connections.
One of my motivations in this was to see if a movie watching experience would be a good opportunity for people to meet different kinds of people than their friends and family and neighbors that they already spent a lot of time with.
JP Movie Night had finally found a stable home to screen their films at JP's First Baptist Church until the coronavirus changed everything.
My initial reaction when we had to stop was, oh, fuck. We're about trying to bring people together, and suddenly we couldn't do that anymore. And I mean, that's our mission. That's what we're trying to do, and it sucked.
We had figured out how to do something special that isn't a normal part of your normal movie watching. And so losing that's fueling our desire to persist and reinvent that however we can.
After the initial shock settled, the organizers at JP Movie Nights hastily planned out a drive-in movie event with help from other local organizations. That spawned a successful series of drive-in events focusing on classics instead of independent films.
Cinema is sort of like, a secular church. We need each other. The fact that people leapt on coming to a drive-in and instead of sitting in a closed room is an indication that that's true, and it'll always be true.
Still, part of JP Movie Night's central mission has been showcasing local artists, such as Boston native Paloma Valenzuela, whose web series The Pineapple Diaries features Jamaica Plain prominently. But Stewart and Gregarkis can't wait to get back to creating a dialogue between audience members. For them, a vaccine can't come soon enough.
Until that day comes, I think we're going to tackle some of the streaming ideas. I think back next summer with a new and even more sort of beefed up drive-in movie concept. We'll continue to cultivate our connections with filmmakers so that we can be ready to show their work in any way possible.
The Brattle Theatre calls itself Boston's unofficial film school, and not without good reason. Creative director Ned Hinkle has spent 19 years building on the theater's rich history, but is now attempting to navigate the numerous difficulties posed by the pandemic.
For me, the sort of shutdown, COVID closure time period has amplified the need for the kinds of places like the Brattle represents, where we're not a sterile corporate environment, where the people who work at the theater have their own personalities.
The Brattle's personality is hard to deny. Located near Harvard Square in a little brick building built in 1890, it stands as a relic from a Boston of old. Since becoming a cinema in 1953, the Brattle has become a favorite of not only movie lovers, but people that love the movie-going experience.
It's the worst thing about being in these pandemic times, that we can't come together. So I think a lot of us who run movie theaters are having a hard time. I don't want to say we're all wandering around depressed, but it's hard to maintain momentum when you don't experience that every day, or you don't know that event is happening every day in the theater, of people coming together and sharing off of each other's love for cinema.
Though impossible to fully replicate, Hinkle and the rest of the Brattle team have responded proactively, just like Coolidge and JP Movie Night. The Brattle has set up a virtual screening room available through their website. And under the most recent lockdown guidelines, they've even been able to rent out the theater to 20-person parties. Hinkle also saw an opportunity to sort through the theater's collection of old movie reels in a creative way.
We also have all these 16mm reels many of them are just sort of a mystery to us. We might know the title, we might even know a description of what the film is, but we don't really know what it is. We haven't seen them.
Hinkle would set his phone up in the back of the theater and broadcast on the Brattle's Instagram Live as he made notes cataloging the reel.
And so it was a way for me just to do something interesting around the theater, but also share it with our audience.
Unlike the larger chain theaters in Boston that remain closed, smaller venues like the Brattle have found a way to make do, at least for now. Even amidst the pandemic, the importance of movies and moviegoing hasn't wavered.
I feel like there's something that's very hard to define about the need to come together in a group and have a shared experience. And have a shared experience that helps you go beyond the parameters of your normal everyday existence. It's just very rewarding.